Hi everyone, welcome into the second edition of the Gannon Golden Knights Coaches Show. We're here at the Sheraton Erie Bayfront, overlooking the marina today. Going to be moving around our locations, and this is the second one, so you get to see all different spots around this property. And thank Sheraton for inviting us in and letting you guys get to meet some of our coaches and student athletes. Today we have acrobatics and tumbling head coach Jacquie Eshleman. Thanks for joining us.
I'm very happy to be here.
Alrighty, so we're just gonna hop right into it here. A lot of things have happened since you guys were last on the mat.
Yep.
But let's start there with the last time that you guys were on the mat. What'd you have, 4 duels in the spring of 2020 before things kind of went crazy? The team was looking good.
Yeah, it was crazy. We went out to Baylor and then went out to Hawaii Pacific University. Both were great meets. At Baylor, we had a program record high, so that was absolutely amazing. We battled back quite a bit in Hawaii after some travel issues and some injuries, but they were 2 amazing meets. I missed that team, but I'm really excited to keep the ball rolling this year with this team. I think these athletes every year, they just pick up where the last team left off, and we're very excited going into this year. So.
All right. You're talking about the 2 things, and I know I harped on them a lot because they were awesome, but hitting the program high score against Baylor, and then the toss high score in the country against Hawaii Pacific. What does that mean? What does that show about kind of the progression of the program?
Oh gosh, yes. It was this past week, we've done a lot of Zoom meetings with our athletes and showing them about our past teams and our program and where we started since me and Coach Aaliyah took over. And it's been really cool to watch that progression. I think when we first started out, our tosses, they were a bit of a struggle, and the athletes worked really hard. They took a lot to the progressions that we've been giving them, and last year to be able to go out there and have near perfect scores for a start value, and then on top of that to execute near perfect scores, out at Hawaii Pacific. Baylor, we had pretty good scores as well, and we just kind of continued to roll with that. I just think it talks to how far these athletes have come, and then even our tumbling event as well, we've just seen continuous increases in our scores, which are typically 2 of the harder events to score well in and to continue to increase your values. And we've just continued to roll off of that every year. And we couldn't be more happy or more pleased. And we're really excited for this year. We lost some outstanding seniors last year, but every year our recruiting classes just get better and better. Our seniors and our juniors step up more and more to be even better leaders than the year before. So, for us, we're just super excited to continue to build off of that. We've got some amazing freshmen that came in this year that are just showing what they can do and what they can hold down and continue the legacy that was left before them from the other athletes. So, looking at last year's and then moving into this year, we're just super excited. That was amazing last year to have the highest scoring toss event in the entire country amongst all of the other divisions is amazing. And, we're just really proud of the athletes and to hit that program high as well. It's a good way to start out this year.
All right. And speaking of the successes, it looked like you guys were heading towards another appearance at Nationals, and didn't get to have that opportunity because of COVID. Just kind of take me through what that kind of process was like whenever it was shortly after you got back from Hawaii, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It was just a whirlwind. That whole week was a whirlwind. Going to Hawaii was a whirlwind with the travel issues that we had. I think the biggest thing going into this year with not going to Nationals, I think our now sophomores, they didn't get that opportunity to kind of have that light at the end of the tunnel, that every athlete gets super excited for, to have that opportunity to go to Nationals. And for us, yes, we're working for it, but we tell our athletes it's an expectation to go to Nationals. It's not an option. You're going to go to Nationals and you got to make it happen. And I think they like that. They're like, yeah, we're going to Nationals. We're going to prove to everybody that we're better and better every single year. And it was hard last year. It was hard, I think, especially more so probably those seniors. And especially because they were here from the very beginning of when we took over the program and made all the changes that we made. But I think going into this year, I think they're more hungry. I think the athletes, whether they're juniors, they're seniors, they're sophomores, they're freshmen, they all feel like they have something to prove. I think as freshmen, you always feel like you have something to prove to everybody on the team. Sophomores, I think they feel like they have a lot of unfinished business. And my juniors and my seniors, they have just been outstanding when it comes to leadership this year. They are just really a cohesive unit, leading this team forward. They're just doing a phenomenal job. And so I think for me, I'm just so excited to watch them put that on the mat. And you know, it's been a different year with training. We've had to make some modifications. We've had to not train certain skills just because of the amount of athletes in those skills. But I think we're ready. We're excited. I think the biggest thing that we keep harping on them, and that I think they keep harping on themselves, is just living in each moment, enjoying each moment, not taking it for granted. And I think that's been really helpful in that mindset moving forward this year. So.
And you just kind of hit on it there. And then, so this fall, what did things look like? Usually, in my understanding, you guys have a progression that you build from the smallest pieces up through, and you take advantage of that fall semester where you're not competing to get ready for the spring. So how did that look different? How did that look the same this year?
I think, number one, every year we always get better athletes so we can move through things faster. So I think every year, you know, our seniors, our juniors, they understand what their expectations are in the summer. You know, and so I think they're always getting better. If you're a freshman or a sophomore, you're still kind of like, where am I? What am I doing? What's this expectation? And so I think this year coming into it, I think our freshmen, you know, a lot of them had their own seasons cut short, and they were ready and they wanted it. I think if they were returners, they felt unfinished business, and they wanted to continue to prove themselves. So surprisingly, me and Coach Aaliyah were very surprised by how many of them came in really good shape, even just simply doing the at-home workouts, because of the fact that they just wanted it that bad and they weren't going to give themselves an excuse. So it was really cool to kind of watch that. And then, you know, typically we're really focusing a ton on our compulsory skills, and we couldn't really do compulsory pyramid because there's a lot of athletes in that, and we were having to look at, you know, those close contacts, you know, who's crossing over from what group to another group, and being really careful and diligent about that in order to keep them as safe as we possibly could if there was somebody who did get COVID, or maybe was asymptomatic with COVID, or was a close contact, you know, so we had to be just very careful about that. So for us, when we were looking at all of those groups, we had to be really smart, and I think it really paid off. I think that we're behind in a few things, but not really behind. We just haven't really trained it yet. And I think, again, they're all in really good shape. Surprisingly, again, they came back again just chomping at the bit, ready to go after winter break, and having a longer winter break than usual. And I mean, we're progressing through things really fast. They're mentally there, they're focused, they're in the zone. You know, they're just ready to do the best that they can with whatever we've given them to prepare them, and just being really smart about what questions to ask, you know, what to do to fuel their bodies properly. They're ready and ready to go. So I think it's definitely been a different year, but we're making it work. And I think the biggest thing that we can do is focus on ourselves and not worry about what anybody else is doing. And we always tend to have that motto every year, but I think more so this year is just living in the moment and doing whatever we can and controlling what we can control, and focusing on how we react to situations. And that's, I think, probably the biggest thing that we've really focused on this year with them.
All right. And heading into this spring, I think it's still going to look different than what it has in the past. Working on putting together a schedule and looking at, we spoke before we got on here, that, you know, looking at what national is going to look like, and things are going to look different. But how do you approach this season that's just going to be kind of piecemeal, hit and miss? Sometimes you're going to be changing things day to day, week to week. How do you focus on that?
I think just the biggest thing we can focus on is ourselves. I think, you know, regardless of who we're competing against, I think it's just taking one day at a time. Let's have fun. Let's enjoy this moment. Not to think too much into it, and just kind of do our job. I mean, I think we just keep telling the athletes, just do your job. Come to practice, do your job. Have fun, live in the moment. You know, we learned from COVID. I think everybody in this whole country has learned from COVID. You can't take anything for granted. So I think that's probably, you know, what we've really just been focusing on with them, and just not worrying so much about who we're competing against, when we're competing against. It's just trusting that in the process, and that it's going to happen as it happens, and just enjoy every moment of it.
All right, that's all the questions I've written down. Time to flip the page into our Fast Five segment, which for some reason keeps everyone on their toes. So this is going to be exciting, I think. So these are just quick answers, nothing to do with Gannon, nothing to do with A&T.
Okay.
Just, you know, give everyone a little bit of insight into it. All right, so first one, what is your favorite book?
Well, right now, the NCATA's Code of Points is currently my favorite book. Well, it's not supposed to be my favorite book, but that is definitely the thing that I'm reading the most right now. And then as a team, we're reading Relentless by Tim Grover, so that's been a really interesting read as well. I don't know if I necessarily have a favorite book, but I think that's probably the closest I can get to it at this point in time.
All right. Okay, let's see here. Favorite movie?
Favorite movie? Oh my goodness, that's a good one. I love The Greatest Showman. I do. I love The Greatest Showman. I think that's probably one of my favorites.
Okay. Let's see. What is your dream vacation?
Dream vacation. I think I would love to go to Europe. I'd love to go over to Ireland, you know, see Italy, France. I think I would love to be able to do that. Mm-hmm.
All right. Your favorite band or song?
Band or song? Oh my goodness. I don't think I have a favorite with that. I think at this point in time, what I'm listening to is Disney Princess Station due to my daughters a lot on Alexa or Pandora. So that's probably, at the moment, that's what I listen to the most. So.
All right. And last one, dream car.
Dream car. Oh gosh. I don't think I have a dream car. I think probably maybe like an SUV of some sort. So yeah, I'm not too picky in that.
Not a bad choice in Erie winters.
No, yeah, it's not a bad choice at all.
All right, so thank you for joining us. We have one of your student athletes coming up next year. We're gonna take a quick break and come on back. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bianchi Honda knows winter does not slow us down in Erie. We're tough, so why not drive an SUV that fits who we are? Like in the 2020 Honda CR-V LX all-wheel drive that you can now lease for only $198 per month. Erie is who we are, Honda is what we drive.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Gannon Golden Knights Coaches Show. Joined here by our first student athlete during this series with senior Jenna DeCoursey from acrobatics and tumbling. Thanks for coming in this morning.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. So, you guys are getting set for your season. It's going to look a little different.
Very.
The past 10 months have looked a little different.
Yes.
What's it been like to you know, during the fall, during your first week back here in the spring? How's things looked?
Well, coming back in the fall was very exciting for all of us. I think having our season cut short last year, having to all go home in March abruptly, none of us were expecting it. And then we had such a long time apart. And I think our team is so close-knit and we really lean on each other. We're a whole big family of 30, 40 sisters. So I think we were just so excited to get back together in the fall and get after doing what we love. And then, again, we had a long winter break. So we had to, again, kind of get back into things when we just got back from break, but I think we're all just very excited to get back to doing what we love, and it was hard to be apart from each other for that long. So I think just being together all again, we all have the same drive and motivation, and I think we're all just really super excited to get back to it.
Right. Okay, let's step back before the world went a little bit crazy there. Last season, you guys had some really great performances. You guys were trending the right way. Like I said, the program has been making those steps, and I think that, you know, some of the things you guys did was a result of that. It showed that. What was it like last year as you guys built throughout that season, shortened season?
Well, as Coach Jack was saying, every year we just seem to be getting better and better. Our athletes are just really proving ourselves every year and how much we're progressing. So I think last year was definitely spoke to that. And we had a few great meets last year, and I think we really harped on our team philosophies last year and what our team really believes in, and that togetherness and just how we all have to work together as a team to achieve what we want to, and I think we all really showed that, and we did a great job.
All right. Heading into this fall, so you guys got to, like you said, come back, meet each other again after one of the longest breaks without seeing your teammates, right? What was that fall like to be able, I mean, just to get to see everyone again and then be able to practice somewhat normally? Well,
of course it was hard in the beginning because we had those first day tests, and some people had to do the 5-day tests, and we had to, you know, still kind of quarantine from each other after so long still. And especially, like, we come from all over the country, so we really didn't get to see each other. But once we're back to get to practices, I think it was just so exciting for all of us to finally, you know, be back on the mat. And our coaches obviously went over, like, we always go over the basics in the beginning of the year, so that we still have those foundations to lead up to the bigger skills so that our technique is there underneath the big skills. And with all the social distancing and things that were still happening, I'm just really proud of how far we were still able to come, and just makes me more excited for this half of the year.
Right. What are kind of the goals, I guess, for the spring? It's obviously, like I said, it's going to look different, but you know, right now you still have your schedule in front of you. What are you guys looking to do?
I think I can speak for most of us when I say our goal is really to just live in the moment. You know, our season got cut so short, and I think it really taught us to not take anything for granted, and just really live in the moment. And every practice, I think we come in ready to be as effective with our time as possible and not waste any moment. And yeah.
All right. Let's see. You're a senior. What's your major?
I'm a sport and exercise science major.
Okay. What are your plans after you're done here at Gannon?
Next year, I am taking a gap year before I apply to physician assistant grad school. So I'll still be here, hopefully helping out with the team as much as I can.
Okay. What did that major help bring you to Gannon? Was that something that you were looking at?
Yeah, I was planning on majoring in physical therapy originally, but it was the academics that really stood out to me at Gannon, and then the acrobatics and tumbling team on top of that just all kind of fell together for me.
All right. And so some alumni of the program and current athlete stuff that I've talked to, one of my favorite questions is what brought you into A&T, because that's not a sport in itself that you see at like younger levels and stuff like that. So you're bringing in people from gymnastics and cheerleading, all kinds of different disciplines. How'd you find out about it, I guess?
Well, growing up, I was a pretty multi-sport athlete. I loved trying all the sports out, and up in high school, I ended up, solidifying in cheerleading, gymnastics, and then a little bit of track and field. But I think I actually had a cheerleading competition at Quinnipiac in high school, and their acrobatics and tumbling team did an exhibition at our competition, and my mom was like, you should look into that. Like, that looks like something you'd like to do, because it was kind of just a mix of both things I loved. So that's kind of what drew me in.
All right, and what do you think about it now that you've been doing it for 4 years?
I have no regrets whatsoever. It's definitely been one of the best things in my life. Not only just getting to do what I love and learning new things, because the skills we do in acro are nothing like cheerleading really or gymnastics. They're just a big combination of both. And also just the life lessons that I've learned. I think Coach Jack and Coach Leah have made a huge impact on my life and all of my teammates' lives, and they've really prepared us for the professional world and life after college too.
All right. Okay, so that's all the things that I had on my mind there, so let's move on to Fast Five.
Oh boy.
You got to cheat a little bit because you got to be in the room whenever your coach was going over them, so you got to know them ahead of time, which ruined some of the surprise, but we're just going to go. I'm going to mix up the order a little bit, maybe confuse you. All right, you ready?
Yes.
Okay, what is your dream vacation?
My dream vacation is probably like Bora Bora, one of those places with, the little huts on the water. Very islandy.
All right, that's a good one, especially on today whenever it's, 29 degrees out. All right, what's your favorite movie?
My favorite movie, you're going to laugh, I really like the bee movie with all the bees in their hive, and they try to stand up for the honey.
I like that. Jerry Seinfeld will like that.
Yes.
Also. All right, your favorite band?
Oh, band. I cannot choose. I just love all forms of music, so I can't give you an answer for that.
Okay, no, that's fair enough. Let's see, favorite book?
My favorite book, I think, goes all the way back into high school when we had to read Looking for Alaska. That was a good read.
All right, and dream car?
My dream car, I think ever since middle school, I've wanted a Range Rover.
All right.
So.
Good answers there. All right, so that's all we got. That's acrobatics and tumbling senior Jenna DeCoursey. Thanks for coming in today and joining us. And good luck as your season gets underway here shortly.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll be back for our last segment. Men's wrestling coach Don Henry is here to join us.
Bianchi Honda knows winter does not slow us down in Erie. We're tough, so why not drive an SUV that fits who we are? Like in the 2020 Honda CR-V LX all-wheel drive that you can now lease for only $198 per month. Erie is who we are, Honda is what we drive.
Bianchi Honda.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Gannon Golden Knights Coaches Show. Joined here for the final segment of Week 2 by men's wrestling coach Don Henry. Thanks for coming in today.
No problem.
All right, and we are getting close to the beginning of your season here, but before we get into that, we're going to go back to last season, and that kind of was, I don't know, you guys built on the success that you've had for a while here at Gannon. Building on the success that I've seen since I've been here, got 8 guys qualified to nationals. Take me kind of through that season and what you saw and how you built that.
We really knew from the beginning when we started training in preseason that we had a special group. They were working hard. They were dedicated. They didn't really understand that they were younger and shouldn't beat people all the time. We had a very challenging schedule. We wrestled 3 Division I schools just to see where we were. We got beat up a little bit, but we learned. We got better. So we took our losses and we learned from that. So when we went out to the national duels, undermanned, forfeiting or not having 4 of our studs in the lineup, and we still competed and still won a match, I knew that we did have something special, and we had that group that was going to overachieve. And then, we didn't win all of our dual meets, but we were competitive. We lost one that we shouldn't have. We went into Pitt Johnstown and wrestled for the PSAC championship. We were very respectable. We walked out of the gym knowing that we out-wrestled them. They just out-talented us for that day. And they were loaded with seniors. They had 3 national champions in their lineup. So we were very competitive. We used that as a springboard to go and wrestle really well in the regionals. We had a couple guys wrestling for 3rd. They took 3 out of the region. We had a couple guys wrestling for 3rd. They had to beat somebody that was seated ahead of them that have already beaten them in the past, and we did. So we had 3 surprises, quite honestly, that just overachieved. And getting out to the national tournament, we were ready. Yeah, we wanted to see what our young group was going to do. We had a great training session. We were down to weight. We were just left the gym and we got called in for a special meeting and they pulled the plug. So it was very disappointing to end that way because we really didn't know how well we're going to do. We knew that we were wrestling really well. We had the right attitude. We were down to weight. So you're given that opportunity, who knows? But it was a great season. We really had some really highs, and that's coming into this season, that's what we were trying to build on.
Right. And then you got out there, you were excited to go, and then, like I said, got the plug pulled on you there 12 hours before you were supposed to start wrestling. And then you came back, kids got sent home less than a week later, and they weren't back on campus until late summer.
Yeah.
What was that like to have to get through that process? I'm sure you're checking in on the guys, making sure they're still working out, maybe giving them workouts and all that kind of stuff. What was that section like before you got to see them again in the fall?
Well, it was the unknown. People didn't have places to work out. Places to work out were closed. When you don't have someone asking what you're eating or how much you weigh, every other day, you're going to pack on the pounds. And we had some guys that packed on the COVID-15 for sure.
All right, and then so once you got them back, got to have a fall semester that obviously looked different, but they got to be here, they got to be in the room, they got to use the workout facilities and stuff like that. What kind of progress did you see from them in the fall semester?
We made great gains, we really did. I expected that we would start at ground zero, and we did. Guys were pitifully out of shape. They were not strong. They were not at fit. So we had a great 4-week preseason training session. We were ready to go. We were down to weight. We were ready to wrestle. And we really tried hard to get other teams to wrestle us in December, and we just could not find a school that was testing like we were. We were very blessed to have the university behind us that was testing to make sure that we were doing the right things and that we could stay COVID-free for as long as we did.
Right. And then kind of speaking of that, so we didn't get to do anything in the first semester competition-wise. Here in the spring, you got some that are on the books. We announced a couple earlier in the week. Already had one now that we just learned is not going to happen. So this schedule that you're looking at and trying to build, it's going to be moving. It's going to be, to use one of our favorite words, fluid.
Right.
And so how do you get everyone kind of mentally prepared to be able to do that, because there's still regionals and national championships coming up for you guys?
Boy, that is a great question. You know, I texted all the guys today and to let them know that we wouldn't be wrestling on Thursday, and they've responded, hey, can we have a maroon and gold match? Can we do something competition-wise? And I think that's a great idea. We'll get the singlets out, we'll weigh them in, we'll get them to wrestle. And again, so they need to wrestle someone. Whether it's a teammate, that's not ideal, but they need to wrestle and compete against someone. They've just been training so hard. We came back on the 28th. We had to go through the protocols. These guys were just itching to be on the mats, and the progress that we've made, the transformation that they've made since when they got back to where they are today. We were really interested to see where we would be, you know, wrestling against University of Buffalo. We really wanted to throw that measuring stick out to see how high we were going to be. So, you know, now it's going to be. We're going to wrestle Kent State on the 14th or the 20th. So, you know, we can still prepare for that. And it gives us another week to get ready for that. And then after Kent is going to be Mercyhurst, Ashland, potentially Edinburgh. Again, whoever we can add that's tested properly, we're going to reach out to get them.
Right. So definitely a little more of a piecemeal schedule than what you obviously would like to usually work with. But we're gonna see what we can do here. So kind of looking at once you get on the mat, once you're able to, what are you looking at with your roster? I mean, I love throwing the stat out whenever I can that you have 9 returning national qualifier or 9 former national qualifiers on your roster, plus a guy that's been in a Division I program for 3-4 years, a local kid in Charlie Lennox. So like, what is that?
Plus 2-time junior college All-American.
Yes.
So
yes.
Again, the lineup that we potentially could have is really outstanding. I don't know who's going to be at every weight class. I mean, I can have a general idea who I can predict, but you know, I don't know. And really, for the Buffalo and Kent State matches, I was going to choose who was going to be the starters, just based on work ethic and who's been working hard, who's been putting in the extra effort. So I wanted to see that, and they've been working pretty hard. So again, it still would have been a tough choice. When you have that many good guys, you know. I want the cream to rise. I want that next level of challenge. So that's what we're working on now.
Right. Tough to make a lineup. Always a problem that a coach would love to have, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
All right. So that's the informative questions there. Now we're gonna get to our other informative questions. You also got a little sneak preview here, so it'll be a little bit different. But heading to the Fast 5 segment. So 5 quick questions. Have nothing to do with Gannon, nothing to do with wrestling. So. Let's start off there. What is your favorite band?
Boy, that's a great question. I would say Bruce Springsteen and the East Street Band would probably be one of the tops. I've been listening to more Dave Matthews in the last couple years. So again, those are probably my top 2 right now.
All right, let's see. Favorite book?
Any Louis L'Amour book.
All right, I like that. It's one that I have not heard yet. Okay, favorite movie?
Boy, that would be a great question. There are a bunch of series that would be funny. You know, I could always go back to Caddyshack. I rewatched that a couple weeks ago, and that just made me howl. So I'm going to put Caddyshack up there.
That's a good fallback to have. All right, let's see here. Dream car.
It would be a 1991 Honda Civic CRX SI. I have already owned it, and I wanted another one. So.
I like that. All right, and dream vacation.
Somewhere in the South Caribbean, somewhere on the beach, just relaxing. I've been to a bunch of different places down there. I would like to be pampered a little bit more, you know. So if I win this Mega Millions or Powerball, I will do that. I will be pampered. So
I should change that question to when we win the Mega Millions or Powerball. Where are you going to be heading? All right. So that's all we got for you. As the last segment, men's wrestling coach Don Henry, thanks for joining us. Looking forward to getting to some competition here, hopefully soon.
Yep, hopefully on the mat soon.
All right. Well, that's our last segment for today, week 2 of the Gannon Golden Knights Coaches Show. I want to say thank you again to the Sheraton Erie Bayfront for hosting us, and we're going to be back next week. Thanks for joining us.